Welcome back to another edition of the Gurus. Mike Testa, Xavier Aguiar. Before we begin this Survivor 50 premiere buy or sell, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure to like more of Mike's stuff. I feel like my stuff does really well. For some reason, the fans don't like Mike. I'm just playing.
I talk too much Colby. Is that what it is? I mean, nobody likes Colby.
It's got to be something like that. But anyway, we figured that the first premiere episode of Survivor 50 was just so vast with information. And we talked about during our reactions, it felt like we were just glossing over stuff, spending too much time on other stuff. We just needed another video to talk more Survivor 50. So we came up with this 10 questions. We're going to buy or sell some of the narratives that have come out. Some of these have been like Reddit or Twitter theories. Some of them have just been from our brain or like wide-standing notions. So it'll be fun to figure out what we are buying and what we are selling narrative-wise from Survivor 50. So, Mike, we might as well just get started here with the first question. Are you buying or selling the Emily, Christian, and Devin's trio being the most dangerous alliance formed from the premiere?
Well, this is more of like a statement too, right? Because it's more like either if you think they are or they aren't. And
Right,
I think that it's an obvious trio alliance. Like it feels like these are the three people who all share similar ideas of how to play the game. We'll talk later about the Kalo women forming alliance. It's like, okay, that's obvious to us. It feels like it's very obvious. I think I'm gonna sell it though. I think they all three had great episodes. But I feel like this is an alliance that, early on could work because they all share similar opinions on early stuff. But once the game gets deeper, there's 24 people in this cast. There's going to be tribe swaps. There's going to be other things that happen. Tribal lines will get blurred a little bit. I'm not going to buy it as far as this formed in the premiere will be the one that kind of dictates the whole season. I think we have a long way to go. So I'm gonna hold off on that and say sell because I think there's just so much more that's going to happen. I think there's more happening on other beaches as well. You see Kalo, there's things forming there as well. So I think that this is probably, in terms of dangerous, like threatening wise of, strategic minds like Emily, Flippin, and Christian and Devins. If Devins gets his hands on an idol, if Christian is, there's a long way to go, but right now I'll sell on that.
I think I'm going to sell too, and this is something I always talk about. I don't really like alliances where everyone kind of is the same type of player. And I know Devin's technically is a little bit different. He's a little more chaotic, but I think that was more bred from a season of chaos like Edge of Extinction. I think he's more grounded in the sense of like Emily and Christian trying to really think strategically and logically at all times. Yes, you want to make those personal connections, but at every point you're trying to figure out what is the best percentage play here to further myself in the game, which I think works. But when you're a collective like this, it kind of just grows your target level. And Mike, before the season started, during our 10 questions episode, one of the questions was about like Christian in particular. Could he really figure out managing his threat level? And I think this move hurts him in that area because Flippin is also a genius, just like Christian. So when you have this like mega mind alliance going on and you throw in Rick Devins, who is really witty and can find idols on the flip of a dime and make crazy moves, you're really just putting a blasting target on your back. I think Christian's better move would have been maybe having like a Joe or Savannah along with him to kind of balance out his own threat level, kind of hide behind some of those big Comp B shields. Whereas when you're just linking up with your friends who have similar ideals as you, it just really paints too big of a target on your back for my liking. I think it could work in the interim on the Sela Beach right now. But like you said, as soon as there's a swap or as soon as there's a merge, I think people will really try to break this trio up. So this is an easy sell for me.
I was going to say that last part you mentioned, you took the words out of my mouth. That would be like if this is an alliance that we believe is going to have some staying power in the early stages of the game and they get out who they want to get out in the early part of the game, yeah, it could work. But the second they hit the beach with everyone else and everyone else sees the game they're kind of playing, if these three make the merge all together safely intact, they will be the three that people are like, oh my gosh, they are the biggest threats in the game. So they almost were increasing their threat level as far as like when the merge happens. So yeah, the way this is worded is interesting because it could very well be the most dangerous alliance, but for that reason, it's the most threatening alliance possibly, and that might not get you as far as you want to in this game. Like Christian last time, like Emily last time. Devins obviously it was a pre-merge boot, but won his way back in the game. I think for all of them, it actually would make sense to kind of branch off into different groups. I think Devins, if he was to work with somebody else along with Christian, that's not so like Christian with Emily, because it does feel like you're right. They're almost ganging up with their friends, which makes sense. Obviously, early game, you want a relationship building people like you want to relate to people who you can relate to. It's pretty obvious day one of Survivor stuff. So I get that for the early portion of the game. But I feel like if they just pick off like an Ozzy or Cirie, like duh, obvious. Pick off the OGs. It's kind of, it's not like that was created yesterday. Everybody knows that's kind of like the standard thing what you do there. But I don't think that would work well for them in the long game. Like I think everyone's gonna be able to pick up on that and be like, yo, these three brainiacs right here, these guys are savants. They need to go. They need to get out of this game. So managing your threat level, I think this alliance does not help lessen your threat level.
No, not at all. And I think pre-existing relationships tend to do more harm than good on returnee seasons like this. So I would be careful if I was them. We didn't really see anyone else pick up on the fact that this is a true trio alliance. It seems like Joe is kind of a satellite member of this group. So perhaps they think this is a little bit more balanced out. But as soon as we get a little bit deeper in this game and people start to reveal their kind of alliances, I would just be worried that Christian would be the target of these three specifically. So we'll see how it goes. But I do want to transition to the second buy or sell here. This Ozzy Cirie tandem. Are you buying or selling that it will be successful long term?
Buying. I'm obviously buying here. I mean, these are my two. I've been clamoring for this alliance for a long time now. This is the third time they're playing together, and it looks like they're finally going to try this out. Whether it will be successful long term or not, again, it's TBD. But I absolutely am buying that this is the right approach to take. Like it could work, it could not work, but this is exactly how both of them should be playing. Like it actually benefits both of them to be working alongside one another because you just mentioned they're so diverse. We just talked about the Emily Christian Devins trio is like the least diverse trio in this entire cast. They all think alike. Cirie and Ozzy play completely different games. So in the deleted scene, they did not make the episode in the premiere episode. Cirie was talking to Ozzy, say, "Hey, you got to get good with Christian. You can't just link up with me, make it so obvious. You got to get good with Christian because if you get Christian, that brings Devins." And then Ozzy, same way. Like Ozzy's thing is challenges. Cirie could not be any worse at challenges. But his whole thing is challenges. He's not really a strategic mind. He's not really a social butterfly either. So they blend so well together. The only question is, can they pull in numbers? Because this is a numbers game, and Cirie's usually so good with pulling in numbers. But this tandem specifically will work if they're able to at least have a shot. There's a chance that neither of them have a shot at winning this game because their targets are already so big heading into it, and that very well could be the case. But them linking up is the correct move, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, whether win, lose, or draw. This is the right move to do. You just got to be able to, not make it so obvious. Ozzy needs to branch out, connect with the Devins, connect with the Christian. We'll see what Joe and Savannah are. They're so new to this game, obviously. They're so new as far as like newer players. But they could be, middle swing votes as well. So you have to get the numbers. Cirie's got to work her magic. But them working together as a duo is the right move for both of their games.
Buying the concept, I'm selling the execution. I think it's also the right move for both of them, but they did it in the worst way possible. Because at the end of the day, we know who Ozzy is and we know who Cirie is. So when all of a sudden, Ozzy is Cirie's biggest cheerleader overnight and is pushing for the Jenna vote right out of the gates and is very staunchly doing so, you know what just transpired. You know Ozzy is working with Cirie. He doesn't have a good poker face. So when you blow up this alliance immediately, it's threatening to everyone else because something we've talked about numerous times and has been a long-standing kind of notion throughout the history of Survivor, whether it's true or not, the OGs are perceived as scary. Whether it's just like the battle scars throughout the game, just the tenure, you learn things over the years, whatever it is, that's just the reality of what happens. So when you have two prominent OGs linking up and they're doing so blatantly, and it's very obvious the ride or dies the way Ozzy in particular is talking about Cirie, what do you think's going to happen, Mike? What is going to happen? What's going to happen is everyone's going to look at this and say, we got to break them up. We have to break them up. They're too good. They're too good. And again, they wouldn't be necessarily my first targets. I think there's scarier people on that beach in particular. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, Mike. It's just Survivor. When you have that tenure, you are just inherently more scary. I don't make the rules.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, to go on that point, I actually think it would be a bad move to split them up right now. Like, I know I'm arguing for them, being a good tandem, but if you're looking at this Emily, Christian, Devins trio and being like, why would it actually benefit you to split up Ozzy and Suri right now? They're always gonna be a huge target if they're aligned, if they're together and attached to the hip. They're always gonna be a big target. You can let somebody else do that dirty work for
Can
you.
I counter?
Sure.
Because this is how Suri gets far in every single game. It's always this thought. So I think it would make sense to get her out right now. And then Ozzy can hang around because Ozzy isn't good enough at building relationships and keeping this Oscar gimmick going long term. He's already kind of failing at it. It was obvious as soon as he's talking to Devins and Christian, they kind of sniffed out what was going on. Joe even made a point. He was like, oh yeah, like him and Suri are working together. This is very obvious because unfortunately for Ozzy, he's just been on TV too many times. We just know exactly who this guy is. So when you want to change that overnight, it's kind of obvious you're intentionally trying to change yourself. You need to make it a little bit more baby steps. You need to kind of rope in like a Joe and then try to pry Joe to say, like, what about Suri? What are your feelings on Suri? And Ozzy can say, you know what? I'd be willing to bury the hatchet with Suri. We've been going at each other for far too long, and you make Joe think he's the mediator between you and Suri. You can't already come in with the idea that you and Suri have linked up and you're ride or dies. You can't do that because it's too threatening. You need to kind of somehow get someone else to say Suri's name and work together that way. And if you can't achieve that, you have to figure something else out where you kind of put the target on, let's say, Savannah, which you could probably rile up everyone else to agree with that. Savannah's too dangerous. We can't let this be a Parvati or a Russell situation from heroes versus villains. We need to just get her out, and hopefully you win a challenge here or there before the inevitable tribe swap, which we all know we're getting soon.
That's what I was going to say. Savannah, like, I think Ozzy and Suri at this point, it's not even a good move strategically or logically to get either of them out right now. Like maybe Suri, but Suri, like you said, has been on our television too many times to have a legit shot at winning this game. I just don't believe that she can win or Ozzy can win. I'm rooting for both of them, but I don't think either. They have too big of targets on their back to both get to the end of this game together. But that being said, though, right now it would feel like getting them out is like low hanging fruit. Like Ozzy gets targeted every time just for existing. Like he could come back 8 more times, he will get targeted right away just for existing. And it's like every single season. At this point, it feels like it's low hanging fruit. Like he's not even that threatening. He's not like
he's really not the same athletically. I mean, he's just not.
Of course not. But like they're thinking along the lines of, oh my gosh, can you imagine? Let's make a big move and get Ozzy out. At this point, it's already happened 3 times in the past. It's not like shocking information now.
But Mike, it's the cachet. It's the name Ozzy. That's what it is.
It doesn't help anyone's long-term game, though.
No, it doesn't.
I think what you said was correct. Targeting Savannah, who is unpredictable, you don't know her game. She hasn't been on any of our screens. That would be much more dangerous to me if I'm in this trio. Even Joe, honestly, I think we'll get to Joe later. I think Joe's threatening. I mean, again, we just saw his game on 48. I would not want a Joe to get far in this game if I'm that trio or if I'm Ozzy and Suri. I think that 5 could really work out and take out these new era players, a Joe and a Savannah, because you already know Ozzy and Suri's game. It's laid out to you 5 times now. Joe seems like he's playing a completely different game, which makes him even more unknown. And then Savannah is literally the unknown. So I think that, again, to the overall point here, I'm buying Ozzy and Suri, but I think that you just have to, if you're the other part of this tribe as well, keep them around. They're getting them out right now. It's not like, I know it's cachet, and in 50, it's like, oh my God, big move, get out Suri and Ozzy. You're not breaking any information there. Like everyone wants to get rid of these guys at some point on the beach. You doing it would just be helping out the other 2 tribes. Like it's like, oh my gosh, we just got Ozzy out. Coach probably like, yes, thank you, Sela, for doing my work for me. It'd be just like low hanging fruit. I think that'd be the wrong move to go after him right now.
I say Suri's a resume move. Ozzy's so translucent that I would not target him anytime soon. Unless somehow, some way, he kind of turns back the clock and starts dominating some of these immunity challenges. His back's already hurt, so I'm not really foreseeing that anytime soon. But
26 days. It's only 26 days.
Yeah, it's only been a few days, and his back's already hurt, Mike. I just, that's not something that gets better when you're on an island in Fiji. It just doesn't.
Yeah, but it's not a 39-day marathon. I think the 26 days actually helps your challenge piece here. It's like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah, you can replenish a little bit faster.
Plus, there's 8 people on everyone's tribe. It's not like there's tribes of 5 or 6 like we've seen recently, where you have to do all the dirty work. Like Ozzy's got people on this tribe who aren't completely in it. He doesn't have to do everything by himself. Like I don't think we're gonna see that Ozzy because we don't have to really. there's strong people on this beach. Like it's not like he has to do. If he gets into tribe swap and gets with Jonathan, like Ozzy doesn't have to do anything in these challenges. Like really, he doesn't have to play that kind of way. But I think that right now, if you got rid of Ozzy, which they're kind of planning on maybe doing, and they don't know he has the idol and the extra vote, blah blah blah. I just think it's low hanging fruit. I think at this point, getting out Ozzy, it's not even like it's not even that big of a move. It's just like you want to say that you got out Ozzy.
Ozzy's never really played a winning game as Survivor. He's been kind of close, but he's never really put it all together. So I wouldn't think that at this point he can do that. So I agree. I'd keep him around. I'm just worried that his inability to change in a realistic manner will hurt this tandem. I think if you're trying to change and trying to become a new player, you have to sell it. You have to sell you're the old person, but then in the shadows, be this new Oscar, if you will. You can't be so front-facing with it because then it just looks phony and authentic. It's just too obvious.
By the way, maybe his back hurting is, hey, I'm not even good at challenges anymore. Keep me around. I can't even really. I'm just like, my back's already hurt on day 2. I mean, Cirie she can't throw a monkey fist anywhere. Like,
didn't I pitch this in 49? I pitched this at some point. I pitched if you're like someone like Jonathan, I would fake an injury and just try to get through a few immunity challenges before I magically get better.
I'm not that threatening until it's like day 21. It's like, oh, now I am threatening. I can turn it on now. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think, again, whether they're successful or not, I don't know. That's TBD. We'll see if it actually ends up being successful. But I think Ozzy and Cirie working together, I can't sell after I've said for months and months and months they should work together. It's unfortunate that they are immediately in the same tribe, so they kind of have no other choice but to work with each other. Like, look at the rest of this tribe. There's really no one else that can. It's not like they can hit on the beach and be like what could Cirie have done? She hits the beach and Jen is throwing her name out. Like, Cirie had no other choice but to look at Ozzy and be like, hey, you want to link up?
She has to link with Christian immediately, is my thought. She should have went to Christian, tried to get in with Christian and Rick, because Christian is this kind of like heartwarming person. He's a narrator type. He wants to play with someone like Cirie. So I think Cirie's best move should have been linking with Christian and Rick and saying, guys, we've been at odds before, but I think Ozzy needs us. I think it's only right if we take him along. And again, you sell it. That's what I want from them. You have to sell it. You can't just be so blatant about it.
Well, I'm not
then it doesn't work.
I'm not ruling that out. I think Christian wants to work with Cirie. I don't think that door is closed. Like,
but they already know now that she's with Ozzy, so that could mean they vote out Ozzy to get with Cirie, which would then inherently mean this question is a sell, because then the tandem doesn't work because only one of them at a time will work as a unit instead of as a tandem.
It's going to be interesting to see how it happens. I think you can see the same thing, though, with Ozzy and Cirie. They could be like, well, you're with Devins. Like, you're always working on with Devins. Like, it could be.
But they have Flippin as a third. That's the difference. And I think they have Joe as kind of, like I said earlier, a satellite member.
Yeah,
an adjacent ally.
Yeah, but if they want to take out Ozzy to kind of bring Cirie closer, if I'm Ozzy and Cirie, I want to take out Emily to bring Christian closer. Like, I would not want to. It's too dangerous. If you have a easy number one here, that's what
I mean. They do have an idol. They do have an extra vote. It could happen. It would take a lot to happen. They would probably need a Sway, a Savannah, or Joe. I'm not really seeing that right now, but it is plausible. It could happen.
They also need to avoid going to tribal council. That's what they need to do.
Which, honestly, we can get into a little bit later, but I'm not so sure they can. But moving on to number 3 here, Mike, are you buying or selling Kyle's removal from the game, getting medically evacuated with a torn Achilles, will dramatically change the end result of this season?
I think it'll dramatically change the course of the season. Maybe not. Maybe the end result will be the same, but I think that he was on pace to be playing a game that would have dramatically changed everything. Like, I am now viewing everybody a little bit differently. So I'm gonna buy this one. Q famously went last in our fantasy draft. I am now buying Q stock with the removal of Kyle. I think he's super important and super valuable to this Vatu tribe right now. Like, I am now completely viewing Q's game differently. I'm like, oh gosh, he can actually take up his game now because they need him in challenges, at least in the early stages of the game. For the end result of the game, I think this is going to dramatically change things as well, because you saw a strong 4 or maybe even 5-some pairing with Kyle, Q, Genevieve, Stephanie, and Colby. Like, you saw them pulling in a 4, and then you're like, okay, once Q gets back from the supplies challenge, we have 5 of the 8 on our tribe. We have the numbers. That could have been a very, very dangerous. I think we both agree. That could have been a very powerful 5. I mean, you got almost everyone is different. You got Q, who's a loudmouth, working with Kyle, working with Colby, working with Genevieve, works with Stephanie. It's a
Wait,
blur of
Mike,
everything.
that's what we like. We like this diversity
Yes.
amongst alliances. We don't
Yes.
like when you're all kind of the same type of player because that tends not to work. Look at Survivor 49, the Tres Leches Alliance. They were all different. They were all different variants of each other. They had similarities. Rizzo and Sophie kind of were a bit similar, but even so, Rizzo was a bit more personable. He was a little bit more of like this jester type figure. People kind of underestimated him a little bit for a while. That's why that worked. That's why they were able to make it all the way to the end, 3 of the final 4. Whereas Christian, Rick, Emily, we just mentioned, they're all kind of the same. Eventually, people are going to be like, we have to get some of these brainiacs out of there. So that's why that's not going to work. And Mike, what you didn't mention there, they kind of have Rizzo, it feels like, for now. It seems like they had him too. So without Kyle, they're going to be much more reliant on Rizzo, which we like him. I'm not sure that's where I'd want to be. I'm sorry. I'm not sure because Q doesn't have a vote. Colby doesn't have a vote. So only Stephanie and Genevieve have a vote. So they need Rizzo to keep the majority. So now all of a sudden you're indebted to one of the most goofball guys in the entire cast who kind of likes to play big, kind of, talked about playing bigger on 49, didn't necessarily do that all the time. So could he be itching? Again, only 9 days in between 49 and 50. Could he be itching like, oh, I really want to do something big. I know I love Colby, but what if I just take him out right now? What if I link up with Angelina and Aubrey? I don't know.
He could, but my thing with Q is I don't think Q's vote really matters at all. It's only the first tribal. Like I really don't think.
Yeah,
Q's
it does for the first tribal for sure. After that, depends.
Yeah, after that, of course. But I don't think Q's on. I don't think Q will be the next to go in this tribe. I don't think he can with the loss of Kyle. So I think his vote doesn't really matter as far as like saving himself because I don't think he's going to go home. As far as getting the majority, yeah, that's pretty important. But I don't think Q will be the one swaying anybody to get the majority either. I think that's going to be on Genevieve. That's going to be on Stephanie. That's going to be on Colby to kind of sway a Rizzo away onto their side, maybe. But I think Kyle's removal inarguably changes all that because I think he was the guy going to be doing that. He was going to be the one getting the numbers, rallying the numbers.
Yes.
Him and probably Genevieve. But the duo of them doing it together would have been super, super dangerous. And that probably would have been the most, it's similar to Kyle Camilla, a little different, but that would have been really, really dangerous. Now it feels like with Kyle's removal, everyone's kind of like scattered like ants. I don't know how it's going to work, but I can absolutely be convinced that this is going to dramatically shift the result of their tribe and then probably the rest of the season because this tribe to me was going to be the disaster tribe. And then what do they do in the first episode? They dominate the reward challenge. They do really, really well on the puzzle in the immunity challenge. And it looked like they were a pretty well-rounded tribe. They actually surprised me, at least in the first episode. Maybe Colby and Stephanie had a good premiere and, their age will eventually show. But right now, it didn't. So now I think for the Vatu tribe and really the rest of the season, I think without Kyle, that's a big void. I don't know how they'll be able to kind of replace him, but I do think it'll dramatically change everything.
I completely agree because right now with Kyle's absence, I don't really know what they do in challenges. Q's kind of the guy now, and they're begging for Colby to match Q's energy. I just don't know if he can. And as far as the women like Genevieve, puzzle god, but if it's not a puzzle, I'm just not sure Genevieve, Angelina, or Aubrey are that useful in any type of challenge like that. So I'm worried about that. As for the Vatu Beach in general, they had a 5 or 6 pack alliance that could have done really well, even if it was a swap, a merge, whatever the case may be. They were kind of set up for a little while, it seemed like. Now, without Kyle in the fray, Rizzo could bounce back or forth. We don't know where his head's at, so that could really hurt that other lasting alliance that doesn't have votes right now. And then Camilla, who we've barely talked about, that could help and or hurt her game. I'm going to say it probably won't matter as much as people think. There are so many people on this cast, and there are so many people that played together. And I understand that 2 weeks before they were in Fiji filming Survivor 50, Kyle was on screen winning $1 million with Camilla by his side, being this amazing duo, right? I get that. But I think it's kind of obvious Camilla is a Lone Ranger at the end of the day, that she wants to be her own player. So I think it would have been insane to think that Kyle and Camilla were just going to run it back. I don't think that was realistic at any point. Like maybe if it was a merge, they wouldn't have necessarily
pull her
targeted each
in.
other
If you can
because,
pull her in as
you
an
know, they
extra
are
vote.
friends outside of the game and they did just work together. I do get that. But Camilla's her own person. So I think Camilla's threat level was big with or without Kyle, is my point. That's respect to Camilla. I don't think Kyle's removal will necessarily diminish her threat level because she is Camilla. She is so good at this game. I would be weary of her regardless. I don't care who else is on the beach. Camilla's Camilla. She's dangerous.
I don't think it's a Rob and Amber type of
No,
relationship.
no.
They're not. But Kyle commented, Camilla's like my working wife on the island. So I do think that if they were to link up at the merge, I do think I could imagine like a Kyle pulling in a Camilla as a number. If she's not like if for example, we'll get to this later. If her girls alliance thing does not work out in Colo, but they just don't go to tribal enough for it to really matter. Maybe that she uses a number at the merge, something like that. I wouldn't have ruled out her and Kyle linking back up for a few votes to kind of get where they both need to go.
But
I
she
think
wants to be independent. She wants to win this game. She's not just carrying Kyle's water here.
Of course not. No, there's not going to be like, hey, we're going to the final two. Like that's not what it. But we could work together for a few votes. And then if the time comes, we have to target each other, maybe whatever. But
I feel like that's what we've heard since, Mike, is that they were like this Rob and Ander tandem. I don't think that's true. I think they would have turned on each other eventually if they had to. They are friends. They already have this relationship. Kyle just won. If Camilla turned on Kyle and said, sorry, I have to do this because you just won and I'm too much in your shadow, I think Kyle is a reasonable enough person to understand that. I don't think Kyle would have flipped out or anything. He seems like a great guy. So.
No, I'm with you. It's just like in Winners at War, the whole plot was get rid of Amber and it cuts Rob at the knees. Like, he'll do nothing. They were on opposite tribes, but it didn't really matter. I mean,
and then they got Rob out like right after, so it didn't even end up mattering. Well, and that point was kind of null.
No, it's actually back to your point. There's so many threats on the beach. There was so many threats on the beach in Winners at War. It didn't really matter because they're all threatening in their own right. And here it's likewise. Camilla's still a threat in her own right. Is she less threatening now because Kyle's gone? Like there's not the worry of them linking back up with the merge. Maybe like in people's eyes, maybe they're thinking, okay, well at least we don't have to deal with Camilla and Kyle linking up with the merge. But she's still really threatening. It's not like she is no longer a threat in this game. Like there's still 22 people left on the beach, and she is one of 22 very, very large threats. So it's not like her game is going to take this absolute spike up now that Kyle is gone. I don't think that's going to really necessarily be the case. I think she is her own woman, but I thought she was her own woman before that. And, now she could just play her own game. Like, this is probably what she wanted to do anyways. Like, I don't think if you ask Camilla straight up before the season, hey, do you want Kyle on the season? I think she'd be, like, indifferent about it. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to see him out there.
I think she'd say no, Mike.
She'd be like, I'm playing Camilla's game, whether he's on the season or not.
I think she'd say no. If she was like, will he be an advisor like on 39, like Rob or Sandra, will be one of those things, then I'd love him. But if he's actually on as a cast member, I think I'm good because it just kind of hurts you in the long run. Even if it shouldn't, right? Even if it shouldn't, it just will. So I want to mention this too. We're going to put a pin in this though. I think it frees Joe up in a weird way. Put a pin in that. Think about it. We'll get back to that in a few. Let's talk about this, Mike. Are you buying or selling that Savannah is playing the best middle game right now?
I'm selling this one. I am going to sell this one because I think, when you go on the journey, there's a few different things that could happen. She ends up winning the Jenga game, so obviously if she lost that, she loses her vote, and that's really not beneficial at all. But she ends up getting a block of vote. I don't think if you're playing a middle game, a block of vote is that necessary. Like if you're actively targeting someone, maybe you do want to block their vote. Sure, that'd be important. But if you're playing a middle game and you're trying to sway side to side, it's not maybe that big of an advantage. It is certainly an advantage, but no, I don't think she's playing the best middle game. I mean, immediately she gets back from the journey and Devins is calling her bluff, like immediately. So I don't think anyone on this beach trusts her enough after 3 or 4 days. I don't think they really can. I mean, they don't know her. So I don't think the answer can be Savannah because again, she's so unknown and probably still so untrustworthy to people on the beach that, the middle game, like you could probably use her for a number, but I don't think she's in a better position than like, for example, Joe or on other beaches like a Charlie. Like I think Charlie, if he's in the middle making, okay, me and Mike White, let's decide who we want to go with here. That would probably be my answer to that. Savannah feels like she could still be targeted. Like it's not like remember last year Rizzo was like, okay, who's playing the middle? Alex. I want to get Alex out. like I think that they could absolutely. There's enough people in this tribe that think like that. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Christian was like, why are we working with Savannah? Like this is a pretty big threat. She just won last season. Like I could absolutely see that happening. So no, my answer would be no. I think I'd sell on her playing the best middle game so far.
I think Savannah played a really, really strong game in her victory. I think this was the worst move she's made in her Survivor career. Kind of going back to camp and lying about not having an advantage at the journey, because we know if you win a journey, you technically always get like an advantage of some sort,
Like
right?
97% of the time, yeah.
Yes. So what's the point of lying about it? You could lie about what it is. You could, I don't know, try to say like no one asked me if I got anything. You could do that gimmick. I love that. But when you come out and say, yeah, I didn't get anything, I just got to keep my vote, you just look so phony, especially because, again, none of these people know you. So you're coming off, one of your first impressions is, guys, do you think I won? Yeah, I won. You do that. And then the next thing you do is, yeah, I don't have an advantage. I don't. So you kind of look a bit conceited, and then you lie back to back. That is not a great look for our girl Savannah. So
Well, here's the thing. Can I not? It's not a pushback per se. I don't mind her lying. I mind the actual lie.
yes,
So,
yes, I completely agree.
like,
You can't
I'm
lie about that specifically.
right. I would say like I get her not wanting to reveal her advantage to the entire tribe because A, she's not working with the entire tribe. Even if you were trying to play the best metal game, you're not trying to tell every single person what you had. So I get like I would have liked for her to just lie about the event, be like, hey, I have an extra vote, or I have whatever it is, not what it actually is. Like she has a block of vote, but I wouldn't say that I have a block of vote unless she trusts somebody like fully, which I don't really know how she can right now at least. I think she could tell somebody the truth, but not the entire tribe the truth. Like she can pull in a Joe if she's really close with Joe and be like, "Hey Joe, I actually have a block of vote. I just told you guys."
Of a clue to the hidden immunity idol at Edge of Extinction. Could have been something just like that. That would have worked.
But
But
then later on, you pull somebody aside and be like, "Here's what I actually have." 'Cause remember,
Right.
that's what Q did. I actually didn't hate what Q said. Was Q didn't bring up that he lost his vote. He said, "Yeah, I got the pots and pans. That's all it was. It was just me and Ozzy. We did the coconut thing, and I beat him, and I got the supplies." He didn't tell the tribe that he lost his vote. He only told Kyle. And by the way, that information is gone with Kyle. So I actually liked that more than Savannah being like, A, lying about getting the block of vote, just saying, "Oh yeah, I just got my vote." And maybe I do believe, I don't know where you stand on this. I think she's gonna end up telling somebody the truth. Like she's gonna end up telling somebody that she has the block of vote. She's like, "Yeah, by the way, I told you guys I just got to keep my vote." She's gonna pull in somebody, whether it's
but it
one or
doesn't
two
have the
people.
same weight now. She
No, of
kind of
course
missed
not.
that
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. But I think that we agree. Like lying about it is not the issue here. But the actual lie was so obviously
Exactly.
incorrect. Like it's so like Devins was like, "Okay, sure, you just got to keep your vote." Like that's not a believable lie. Like if you're gonna lie about it, which I don't mind, at least make it believable to the point where then you could use later on. "Oh yeah, by the way, this is actually what I have." That way, it's more of a shock. Because if she tells like Devins, "Oh yeah, by the way, Devins, I have a block of vote," he's not gonna be like, "What? Really? Like I'm so shocked."
Mike, she's not a great liar.
Yeah,
And
the
the way
shock
she
factor.
kind of got around that last season was being blunt all the time and kind of catching people off guard. You probably can't run that playbook back with all returning players. It's just not going to work the same. So she kind of has to switch gears, which I understand is tough. She just won 2 weeks prior. She just won. So it's kind of tough to play a different game. Whereas Rizzo, and I've heard many ex-Survivor players talk about this, he's kind of festering in those 2 weeks since the season. What could I have done differently? Should I have cut Savannah off at some point? Should I have played my idol a little bit before? How could I have won my season? Whereas Savannah kind of thinks she's the queen. She can't do anything wrong. And, how can you really argue it? She just won. So it's kind of that tough dichotomy there. I want to mention something about Charlie, though. If that union with Mike White is legit, because we saw Mike is kind of in that Jonathan, Chrissy coach group, but he's Mike White. He can kind of do what he wants, right? So
Yeah.
if Mike and Charlie link up, there's a 3-person alliance to the left, there's a 3-person alliance to the right. You can kind of choose who goes home for the first 2 votes,
Yeah,
right?
that's
You
true.
can link up with either block, because I don't think Tiffany, Camilla, D, I don't think they'll be splitting up. And I think Coach and Jonathan feel pretty legit right now. And clearly Chrissy is targeting D's, so I guess she has to be with them for the foreseeable future until D's out, and then maybe she can try to make inroads. But Mike and Charlie, really good positioning, but it's Charlie in particular who's kind of laying back, seeing where he wants to go. So I'd argue Charlie right now is playing the best middle game.
I agree. There's 2 points I'd add to that. First point is Rizzo. In the 14 days he had to fester, did he learn at all to make fire? Because you could argue that was the only thing you just make fire and you win. If you beat Savannah in fire, you win the game. But no, to move on to the Kalo middle here, because I agree. I think Charlie's playing the best middle game at least through one episode. I think that they're in a great spot because A, they're in the middle, but they don't have to show their hands. I think we both agree that this team won't be losing that many challenges. So maybe there's only one tribal they have to actually pick who goes home in the middle, and then they could stay in the middle. There's not like they have to go, like I think Savannah might have to go to a few tribal councils here. Kalo, they could rest in the middle and then be in a powered tribe where they don't have to actually show their hand. They could be in the middle without actually exposing themselves. You know what I mean? Like because when you vote, that's the ultimate. Okay, that's where you stand. Like that's where you actually stand. And they don't have to really vote yet. I mean, I'm assuming unless there's some double elimination episodes, we have to go.
Will be, but even so, there's a chance they just don't go.
That's
like
what I'm
they're the
saying.
favorites in every type of challenge.
Right.
If it's physical, you have Jonathan. If it's mental, you have Camilla. If it's a combination of both, you have someone like D who can kind of work in between the middle. Same with Coach.
Yeah.
Underrated in these comps.
Charlie,
He
I
was
think,
doing
is
really solid. Even like if
Chrissy.
your worst competitor is jacked Mike White, you're doing okay. Like I think if you look at like the worst competitors on each tribe, Mike White is clearly the best of that bunch, to the point where he might not even be in that conversation anymore. He's that transformed. So
No, Mike White's on a tribe with a literal mountain. Chrissy won 5 immunity necklaces. D, I think, won 4 or 5 immunity necklaces. Camilla is a puzzle wizard. Coach and Charlie, and then Tiffany. Like, yeah, Mike White is definitely the weakest of that tribe, but he's not even like, he's jacked now. You said it. He's got a 6-pack. So I'm with you. I think that if you're in the middle and you're on a tribe that won't have to go to many tribal councils, and you can dictate who goes home if there is a tribal council, you keep all those relationships with you. Like, there's a chance here that D never faces tribal council, and then her and Charlie can link up at a tribe swap. It's like, okay, we're still going to be Kalo strong, and Charlie never had to make the pick of whether or not I want to go with the girls or the guys with Chrissy. So they're in a really, really good spot. Charlie, I think I would say Charlie and Mike White both, but Charlie is more behind the scenes. So I would actually prefer that game, especially when you have a tribe of all these strong people, all these physical threats. I mean, we mentioned in our last episode, Coach is a could-be winner. D is a literal winner. Camilla was a fire-making show away from winning the game. Chrissy was almost a winner. There's so many people.
Mike White was basically a winner. He punted on purpose.
Mike White almost punted the win. Charlie was 1 vote away from being a winner. There's like 6 could-be winners on this tribe, along with D as well, who's an actual winner. So I think they're in a best spot now because they're so strong, and they're not in a position where they could be like, no one's going after Charlie right now. Like, he's not on anyone's radar. So I think he's in a really good spot.
You know who is on some people's radar, though? That is D, and that leads us to number 5 here on Buy or Sell. Are you buying or selling that D can overcome her early target?
Well, I mean, if things break their way and they don't go to tribal council, there certainly are avenues. But I think I'm going to sell this one. I think I'm going to sell that she can I think it's just it's such a big target now. And I think especially now with a winner already going home, she's now one of just 2 winners on the beach. That is really threatening. So it's already threatening. Like, maybe if she was able to get with a Kyle and be like, it'd be like the 2 winners, like, you have a shield here, but that was unlikely anyways. JT and Tom tried to do that. I just think it's really difficult. Like, even if the girls thing is cool with her and Camilla and Tiffany, Chrissy being so weary of D, Jonathan being so weary of D, it just feels like, and maybe Coach as well, if they're the ones that people are listening to and people are already worried that D's a winner, I think it's going to be really difficult for her to overcome it. Now, again, Kyle did. It seemed like Kyle overcame his early target like immediately, like 5 minutes in. I don't think D will have the same success, especially now with 1 less winner there. But like we said, I mean, I've kind of argued about both sides of the spectrum here. Like, I'm saying that their tribe is so strong that it may not matter, but I do think if they are to get tripped up, D would still be getting looked at. Like, D is not going to ever leave anyone's radar. Like, she's not going to be able to minimize her threat level like maybe an Aubrey can, like maybe a Genevieve can, like maybe a Rizzo can. I don't think that she can do that. She's a winner, and it's too recent of a winner for her to do that, and this tribe is too strong as well. Like, I just think it's really, really difficult for me to assume that even in a tribe swap, like, people are probably like, guys, D's really good. Like, imagine if D gets tribe swapped with Emily, who she played with before. Emily's going to be like, guys, D is no good to keep her on this game. She's just too good, simply too good. So I would say probably won't be able to overcome it. I would still put my money on D being a pre-merge boot.
I agree completely. A sell for me as well. But here's something to think about. Don't you think D's game is a bit too hard to replicate? Like, she was so dominant. Don't you think that's just almost impossible to replicate on this cast? So in a way, there is an argument where you can just say she just can't do that again, guys. Like she can't. And if it seems to look like she can, we'll just get her out then. But for now, it's almost like she was too good in a way. Like no one's that good, right? So you never really think like that. You tend to think like, okay, we've seen her do this before. We don't want to give her an opportunity to do this again. But there is an argument like, you know what D is. You know how she won. You know what it took. Whereas someone like Charlie, he's more adaptable, which I think is a little bit more scary in my eyes. But that's a tougher sell to people.
Well,
Usually.
I would pose you this question: if you were on Kalo and they happened to lose an immunity challenge, and say the numbers sway in a way where it's going to be one of those three girls, it's going to be Tiffany, Camilla, or D. Wouldn't it feel kind of disingenuous, kind of insane to take out like a Tiffany with D on the table? Like that to me, even though D is maybe.
Can I tell you something? I would take out Camilla.
Okay, I can get behind that, but if it's between like if you rope in Camilla and it's between a Tiffany and a D, I think it would be insane.
You would feel insane.
It would feel
insane
in the game with Tiffany's not that big of a threat. Like of the threats in this beach, I know they're all threats, but of the threats in this beach, D is, in my opinion, the most threatening women on that tribe. And maybe Camilla because you're worried about. I would still lean D, but the point is, if it's between D and Tiffany, it would be insane to me to keep a winner in the game if they are to go to tribal council. So to me, I still think D has an uphill battle if she's try to sway people off of her. Like it's just gonna be really tough to sell people. Hey, like I can't play that game again. I can't be as dominant as I can be last time. Like keep me around. Maybe she can do it, but again,
she can't make that pitch though. That's a pitch someone has to make on her behalf.
Yeah,
which is a bit difficult. I think D's pitch would be, I'm such a target, but I am so valuable for your game because I can be your shield. I can be in front of you. I think she has to make that pitch, and that could garner her some time.
Right. Depending on who she talks about that too. I think if she was to tell Charlie that, I'd be like, I would be all ears if I'm Charlie. I'm like, yeah, I could keep a winner next to me. That would be pretty interesting.
Because it's never really hard to cut her out from the knees. You always have the fact that she's a winner hanging over her head. So you can always, let's say it's the final 8. You guys are still working together, but you have the numbers. It's time to get out D now because we can just get everyone involved in this because she was a winner. She's getting too close to the end, and we don't want her to get in those final 3 seats because then she's probably going to win because being a winner and getting there is just so valuable, right? It's almost like an automatic win nowadays. That's what it seems like people think. So.
No, I'm with you. I think it's similar to what JT did in Heroes vs. Villains. People are like, let's just keep JT in the game because, A, he's a winner. It's a recent winner. He was the most dominant winner at that time. He was the only perfect game winner of never having his name written down at all and then getting all 9 votes at Tribal. D had a, not quite a perfect game, but she had what's perceived as one of the most dominant new era games. And again, it's very fresh in everyone's mind. So she comes back. I think that her pitch would have to be like, hey, you can get me out in the early merge. Like, you're always have the opportunity to get me out of the game. Why do it right now? And I'm a huge shield. That would be my pitch. And I think if she tails the right person, that would be something that you can listen to. But again, it's all about getting 5 out of 8 majority, and that's really what it is. I don't think she can get 5 people on the majority here, unless they view, like you said, Camilla as a bigger threat. Which I wouldn't rule that off. But again, if they were to lose a few challenges, I would think that D's on the short list of names.
I completely agree. And I want to transition here to number 6, which is my favorite. I saw this floating around quite a bit, and I wanted to hear your take on this. Mike White, our guy, Mr. White Lotus, Hollywood Mike White.
Yeah.
Is this laissez-faire thing he's doing a game tactic? The entire first episode, he's talking about how Survivor is a vacation. He's here just to have fun. He doesn't really care what happens because he's Mike White. He has all this money in the bank. He's just so grateful that Jeff gave him this opportunity that this is kind of playing with house money. If you're Mike White, you just want to be there as long as you can because you want to enjoy your experience. Are you buying the fact that Mike White really just doesn't care about his standing in Survivor 50 right now?
I'm buying the laissez-faire attitude as an early game tactic. I think he's right now wants to come off as, I think he wants to come off as this person. Yes, I absolutely think he wants to play that role. Whether he truly in his heart believes that's another question. But I think he absolutely is playing this actor role of, hey, I'm like the happy grandpa. I just want to be here. Just let me enjoy this as I part. Like, just don't get rid of me this quickly. I want to enjoy this. It's a celebratory season. Like, I want to hang out with you guys. Keep me around. I think we will get that early stage game from Mike White, and I do believe eventually he will rip that mask off. You better believe that is not going to be the attitude for the entire game. There's no chance. But I do think it is a tactic. I think it's an early game strategy. It's kind of the game that we saw Dan Giesling play in Big Brother, kind of like a hiding in plain sight early on, just kind of not really taking it seriously, and then turning it up at the end game. Like that's a tactic for people. They absolutely can do that. They're like kind of not taking it too seriously in the pre-merge, not playing so hard like you've seen, Jenna do. Chrissy hits the ground running. She's like, let's just start talking strategy. Like Mike White, his tactic is maybe not. Let's wait for that. That'll come down the line. I don't want to go guns a blazing right now. And I think that's a legit tactic. So I am buying that is his strategy. I'm not buying that it'll be the strategy for the entire game.
Listen, when you're Mike White's age, why would you possibly need a six-pack? Right? Like, why would you get in that good of shape if you didn't care immensely about Survivor and lasting throughout this game? I think he knew that his best path is to be competitive in some of these immunity challenges, which he kind of was last time, by the way. He was a little bit more competitive than people remember. He wasn't like winning necessarily, but he was doing well, especially on a cast that was obviously David Goliath. There was plenty of good competitors on that cast. So I think he was kind of, hitting above his average at points. So this is obviously a tactic. He knows what he's doing. He's in Hollywood. I know he's a writer, but he's around all these actors all the time. I'm sure he's picked up a thing or two, right? So this is so obviously a strategy. And I love it, by the way. I always implore, like, New Era Survivor, everyone kind of has the same 5 or 6 beats that they play all the time, 5 or 6 ways they want to play. I welcome things out of the box like this that we kind of got more in the old school era where people were just lying all the time, where maybe they were lying about a profession to mask who they really were. Now you're lying if you're a freaking commentator or something. So it means nothing now. So I do like this out of the box strategy, and I think it's working. I think people are buying this because Mike White is so charismatic that he can sell it more so than anyone else. If this was coming from, let's say, Tiffany, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work the same, where Tiffany was someone that people were like, oh, I don't know why she's here. I think that was probably the number one name I heard, like, oh, I don't really get her inclusion in this cast. So if you're Tiffany, maybe you could be like, yeah, I don't know why I'm here either, so I'm just going to enjoy it. But we know who Tiffany is. We know she loves Survivor. We know she wants to play this game. That wouldn't work. Mike White, yes, he loves this game. Yes, he said that all the time when he played, how grateful he was to be on the show, and how he was taking this experience to grow as a writer and a human. But he wants to win. He really wants to win. Stop it. And he said in a pregame interview, I don't know if it was Dalton Ross or if it was last year, like in the rollout to Survivor 50 being announced, but he admitted he was upset he didn't win last time. He regretted doing what he did because, let's face it, Mike White won that season. He intentionally threw Final Tribal Council because he didn't want the money, but I think he wanted the title. And I don't know what he'd have done with the money. Maybe he would have given it to second and third place. Like maybe he could have done something like that. Like maybe that could have been a pitch for him at the end. Like, listen, I want the title of Soul Survivor. I will give them the money. You don't have to worry about the money being an issue. I will give them the money. I just want to be the rightful winner of this show, which I think he could have got away with, Mike. I think they would have voted for him. He still got votes anyway, by the way, even though he literally said he didn't want to win. He still got votes. So I think if he was like, listen, I know what you're thinking money-wise. I will give them the money. Just vote for me because I want to win. I think he would have won, right?
Well, yeah, here's the issue. Sometimes juries literally do vote on who needs the monny more. I mean, Q gave Kenzie a vote because of what he asked her a question of, like, what are you gonna do with the money? And Kenzie was like, I have a kid on the way. And Charlie was like, I don't know. I want to win the game. So yeah, some people do literally vote on what you would do with the money because they actually care about that stuff. Maybe for Mike White, it wouldn't really matter. But nonetheless, I think that this is he's playing a role. We both agree he's playing a role right now. He's playing a character. I think so often on Survivor, these new era players care about how they're perceived on television. I don't think Mike White cares. He's like, yeah, I can play a role. I can play a role for the first 12 days before the merge starts. I can play this role and play it well. And then when the time comes to kind of lock in and strategize and make moves and get out big threats, I can do that too. I can still play this game. It wasn't that fresh. It's still kind of fresh in my mind. So I am buying the game tactic aspect of it, but I'm also buying that he's playing a role. and he won't play this role forever. He will eventually take the mask off and be like, no, I want to win. I don't. I mean, at
I
this
think
point,
he'll play it as long as he possibly can. But at some point, it's going to be like Final 10, and people are going to look around and be like, well, Mike doesn't really care, right? So what if we just have an easy vote and get him out? And then he's going to be like, oh, God, like, hey, that was kind of me being a character here. That wasn't serious. Don't take
No.
that seriously. Obviously, he'll do that much more sophisticated, but I think it could be an issue if he does it too long, because then they're like, oh, so you were scheming the entire time. That's not good, because then you'll win. So,
Well, right. You have to play the role long enough to sell it, but it can't be like Colby in Heroes Villains, where like if you told me Colby, like imagine it's Final 6 and Colby's like, by the way, I was throwing every challenge to be a GOAT. Now I'm going to turn it on and beat all of you. You can't do that. You can't wait so long to the point where it's like,
because then it comes off disingenuous. Even if it was true, even if it was 100% true, and you were trying to do it,
inauthentic. Yeah,
yeah, people just won't buy it. It's too tough to sell.
It's got to be long enough to sell, but not long enough to the point where it's like that's literally your game by Final 6. It's like, wait, what? What's going on here? He'll do it much more sophisticatedly than we would have.
Right, exactly. Because Mike White's a GOAT. We love Mike, so hopefully, I want to see him do it as long as he can, though. I want to see this, like, I want to see how far we can get into this. Like, how ridiculous can this get? Like, does Mike just say, like, I'm going to vote someone random at a tribal council? Like, I'm just going to throw my vote away. Like, I really don't care. Like, I don't want to be involved.
Okay, he would take it to another level if he does that. No, like, I'm just going to throw a vote. I'm going to pick a number 1 in 10 and do one of those things. I think that he'll be able to. That would be hilarious.
Anyway, number 7 here on Buy Sell. No self-awareness of what went wrong on Survivor 48 will set up for a deep run here in 50. Are you buying or selling the new Joe? Because we got a few confessionals of Joe in the premiere sounding a little bit bitter of how he was treated during his season with Kyle and Camilla, how he was kind of strung along. He didn't necessarily appreciate it. Hey, Joe, that's Survivor. I hate to tell you. But regardless, I kind of understand what he meant, because he did have that deep connection with Kyle. There was that moment of him on the beach with Kyle. Kyle was talking about like his upbringing and how he got into some trouble as a young adult and how he changed his life around, and how Joe was this inspiration to him and he's this father-like figure. So I understand where Joe's coming from. It felt like maybe Kyle took a little bit advantage of him by kind of stringing him along. I get it. But at the end of the day, Joe, it is a game. I'm just throwing that out there, Joe. I just wanted to say that. But Mike, you're a self-proclaimed Joe stan. Are you buying or selling Joe's new kind of strategy leading to a deep run here on 50?
I'm gonna sell a little bit here. I have so much stock on Joe Island. It's a brief sell. It's a small sell, but I do think he could be in a little bit of trouble here if he's like you mentioned. The first episode, it was a lot of Joe seeming very, very bitter. Like he got played the whole game, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think those relationships were real. I think he played a fantastic game, more so than people think. Like I thought Joe played a really, really good game, and I think he should hold his head very high. It wasn't like Kyle was fake to him the whole time, undermining him the whole time. Like no, they were working together for a pretty long stretch of time. It just happened to be Kyle was a better player at the end of the day. And I think that him being this, like you mentioned in the first episode, he looked at Ozzy and Cirie and he immediately got like PTSD from like that's Kyle and Camilla. They're gonna work the whole game together. And they're gonna undermine me. I think you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you have blinders on and you perceive every single duo as a Kyle Camilla level threat, because not all duos are like that. So I love Joe. I think he is much more self-aware this time. I think it's good, but I think I don't think it'll set up for a deep run. If he's so paranoid of every powerful duo in this game being a Kyle Camilla level strategic threat to his game, I think that would be troubling for him. He has to play his game. Can't play the same game that he did last time, but I thought he played a really good game last time. He doesn't have to change that much. He has to make a few tweaks, but being like super paranoid of like, oh my gosh, Ozzy and Cirie, gotta split them up. That's Kyle and Camilla. They're coming after me. They're gonna be cutting me at the end. So let's slow down a little bit, Joe. I like Joe a lot. I have a lot of stock on him. Got to sell a little bit of stock here because I thought he was really bitter in episode 1 of the Kyle Camilla thing. Neither of them are on his tribe. Like, just play your game, Joe. The relationships you made in 48 got you to where you got. You were not on an original tribe with Kyle and Camilla. You were on an original tribe with Eva, with Thomas, with Shaheen, and everybody was telling Kyle everything. Even Star, who was on the outs. Don't change your game yet, okay? Have the paranoia in the back of your head, but don't look at it like you're having blinders on to everything going around you and being like, that's dangerous, that's dangerous, that's dangerous, because then you're going to be scared to touch anything. That was like me at 5 years old. I'm like, oh, can't touch the jellyfish. There's too many around me. Don't do that. Just get in the ocean. You'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal. I thought he was very, very paranoid in episode 1. I think he'll be just fine, though. I think it was just, one of those things where it's like, I got duped. I got duped by Kyle and Camilla. And maybe he did, but I still think he played a fantastic game. So he's back on the paranoia.
I'm hesitant, but I'm buying the new Joe. I really like the new Joe. Listen, the honor and integrity thing has a shelf life, and it's not a winning shelf life. We've seen it win, twice maybe? It was much more prevalent early on, like old school, like the infancy of this game. But in like the somewhat modern era, if you will, not the new era, the modern era, it just doesn't work. It simply doesn't. So that could have taken Joe to the final 3 seats, but it wasn't going to give him the $1 million, in my opinion. He needed to change something. I thought that was kind of lacking in his game last time around. I agree with you that I'm a little bit weary of the fact that he is so paranoid so early in the game, right? Because early on, this reminds me of Ozzy in Game Changers, where Ozzy looked at Suri and it felt like he was getting war flashbacks. Yeah. And he's like, my God, I can't forgive her for something that happened so long ago, even though Suri played the game. Again, when you do these things that are just playing the game to further your own game, you kind of lose me with the PTSD thing. And I get it. It's human nature. Like, this person burned me before, right? But when they're coming up to you out of the gate saying, hey, can we bury the hatchet like Suri did to Ozzy in Game Changers, then, I would take them a little bit more at their word. And if you do get burned, then, you can be really angry about that. But real quick, I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but I don't think that they burned him. Like, I want to push back on the narrative that they burned him. They never.
I agree with you.
They never once broke their trust with him at all. They just happened to be playing a different game than him along the way. We're not. Yeah, that's all it was.
With Ozzy and Suri, I felt that, and I feel that especially with Kyle and Joe here. Like, Kyle and Joe. Yeah, I feel that, like, evidently that. Look, Joe's a good dude, but I still don't really think he had a great chance to win that season based off of the narratives that we heard, like, after the season. It felt like that was Kyle's season to lose. And if Kyle lost it, it was Camilla's season to lose. So Joe at best was in 3rd place, right? So Joe hears all these things. Now he's like, okay, what can I do differently? And naturally, he's going to start looking at the duos that kind of spurned him last time out. I get it, right? But why I'm buying Joe, this new Joe, is because if he's able to be roped in just a little bit, I think Joe is somewhat reasonable, right? If he can just be roped in a little bit, have that gamer side to him, but not be so paranoid, if he can link up in that Christian, Rick, Emily trio, make that a foursome, I like Joe in that as kind of this, like, learning from these more experienced players that have a little bit more of a gamer side. And if one of them gets plucked off, Joe can kind of sit back, assess the situation in front of him, and then make a run. He can jump ship after that. I think he has avenues early on that he doesn't necessarily need to stick with for the long term to be successful. Now, if this is constant paranoia, if we get to the next episode and Savannah's the one eliminated and it's Ozzy Suri and he's freaking out about it, then I'd be a little bit more worried. But I just like the change. I like when you lose and you try to think about how you lost and you try to change it. You have to do it in a certain way. Like, Joe's way of changing isn't as frontward facing as Ozzy's, right? Like, we know Ozzy's changing in real time. Everyone could tell. And so it feels kind of obvious. Whereas Joe, it's a little bit more subtle because he's in the shadows, right? With how he's analyzing things. So I just really like that he's trying something new. I can appreciate it.
Well, I can agree that he needs to tweak his game. I don't think he needs to full change his game like Ozzy maybe does. But because, by the way, we're having like a short-sighted. He made the final 3. He was in a power position in the final 4.
Doesn't matter if you never have a real chance to win.
See, I didn't buy that. I had it in the finale, and I said it's Kyle or Joe. It's Kyle or Joe wins the game. I had no idea that Camilla.
What about the final votes, Mike?
He got 1 vote from Cedric. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So yeah, and by the way, and real quick on Joe's game, because I thought it was a fantastic game. the new era game doesn't respect honor and integrity. It's just not a game that people like, evidently, in today's game. I thought he played a very similar game to Coach in South Pacific, where it's like he had to eventually backstab somebody. You're going to scorn somebody in the jury. The jury was so scorned by Joe, or maybe they were just so impressed by Kyle and Camilla's deception.
I think they were so impressed by Kyle and Camilla.
Maybe, because Joe really didn't burn anybody, and I thought that's a perfect way of playing the game. You actually were in a power position. You kind of kept your word.
But Mike, the problem was, it felt like he wasn't playing the game. He was just being Joe Hunter. That's the problem.
I would disagree. If for people who say that, I would that was Ken.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I think that was the narrative.
Sure, and hey, narratives can push winners. But in my opinion, Kyle and Joe played the best game last year. Like I don't foresee that had Camilla won the game over Joe, had she beaten Eva and Fire, and it was Kyle, Joe, and Camilla won, I would have been like, I don't think Camilla's the best player, because her whole point was I want to get rid of the strong people, and there's two strong men in the chairs next to you, in Kyle and Joe. So her game plan would not have worked out. Joe's game plan for the most part worked out. He was never on the wrong side of a vote outside of Thomas in the pre-merge when Kyle blindsided him. So I thought that Joe played a really good game. Don't think he has to tweak. I think he has to tweak his game to win, obviously, because he can get to the final three to playing the exact same game, probably, or maybe not in this drive.
Yeah, no, I think he could.
But he could do the whole thing and go far. He could absolutely go far.
Mike, I think this cast would actually be endeared by Joe's personality. I think because there's such like this kumbaya element to Survivor 50, and he's not necessarily threatening in the way like a Devins or Christian is on his own tribe. I think he could easily make it to his final three just by existing.
Yeah, which is good for him. But if you tweak a few things, you can win the show. Like, again, if you just tweak a few things, but the paranoia thing is got to dial back a little bit, because I would not be, like, he seemed so petrified of the Ozzy-Cirie duo, which of course most people should be. They're both really good players. But again, I would not lose sight of the fact that he worked with a very dangerous duo before, and it got him to the final three. And he wins the game if he does a few things differently. Not that much. It wasn't like he was that far off. I know he only got one vote, but the two Eva votes were pity votes. I mean, that was no offense to Eva. Mary and Star voted for Eva because they liked her story. There was no avenue of Eva being a better player than Joe, socially, strategically, or physically. So the third place finish to me was kind of like a little BS. I'm going to put an asterisk. I'm like, Joe was runner-up that year. I mean, Eva got 2 votes from Mary and Star, who really didn't know what they were doing. But nonetheless, to segue off of that, Joe, I like his new approach, but I would be worried about the paranoia of being a completely different person. Ozzy probably has to change his entire play style. Joe does not. Joe has to tweak a few things. I think he'll be right there.
Mike, you mentioned Coach a few moments ago. Are you buying or selling the fact that Coach is the most influential person on this cast?
I'm going to sell this one. I think Coach is a very influential person on this cast. There's a lot of influential people on this cast, though. I mean, it's not just Coach. There are a lot of narrators, a lot of storytellers, a lot of influential people. I was a little bit worried about Coach when Mike White brought up to him the fact that, and I almost think he brought it up jokingly, where Ozzy kind of wanted it, and then he stole the key, and Coach kind of, it's almost like he saw a ghost. It was almost like, wait, huh? He kind of disassociated, and I was like, that, it looked like back in South Pacific again. I was like, we're back to like, this is real life. It was like all joking, loving Coach the first like 2-3 days, and then Colby gets back from or Mike White gets back from the boat with Colby and Savannah, and gives them the news of like, yeah, people are kind of turned off by the way you won that challenge, Coach. And it looks like he didn't take it as like a joking manner, or as I thought when Mike White was explaining to him, it was like, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like you took the key, and like Ozzy was like pissed for like a second or two. I think that could be interesting. But as far as influence, again, Coach is obviously very influential. I would be worried about the amount of people on the beach, where it's almost like there's, we see this thing where it's like the beach is not big enough for this many influential people on the island at the same time. So I would be worried that there's so many of them that maybe Coach's isn't. It's not like South Pacific where it was Coach and all newbies and then Ozzy. Like Coach obviously was like the pastor of that entire thing. Like he was the one that everyone was talking to. Like there was nobody else to ask for anything. With an all returnee season, again, you got Cirie on the season, you got Ozzy, you got Joe, you got all these people, Christian, Devins, everyone. I mentioned the entire Steeler tribe, but like, Jonathan, Mike White is literally the runner of White Lotus. There's a lot of influential people, so I would say maybe not Coach. And again, he had a really good episode, but I would maybe sell a little bit on Coach being this South Pacific version of influence.
Well, who is? If it's not Coach, who is?
I would take the field, is what I'm saying. I don't know who it is.
No. It says is the most influential person. I need a person then. Someone has to be the most influential inherently, right?
I guess. I mean, so I can't take the field. What you're saying? I have to pick someone.
No, this is not a him or everyone else. This is him or someone else.
Oh, okay. I will take Mike White. I'll take Cirie, actually.
Okay. You'll take Cirie.
Yeah, I'll take Cirie. I think she's got a lot of influence.
I am buying this, by the way. I'm buying this. I'm selling Cirie. I don't think Cirie's even in the conversation because everyone knows how influential she is. It's almost intimidating. Whereas Coach's is more subtle in a way because it's his like charisma. It's his aura, if you will, of him being this kind of goofball that he can kind of rope you in without you even realizing you're lost in the sauce. It is very cultish. We always talk about this with Coach. It is very cult leader-esque. Cirie, you know the threat's there. So I think she kind of has lost that because she's been on the show so many times. At her peak, there's no one more influential than Cirie. It's not arguable.
So maybe I'm thinking from because if Cirie told me to put my socks on my hands, I would do it. Like I'm thinking from maybe an all newbie cast, Cirie is the most influential people. Maybe on an all returnee cast, they're not so starstruck by Cirie.
Yes, maybe true.
Okay.
And she's been on the TV so much as we keep bringing up. So it's too much Cirie. I think her game plan is just kind of outdated at this point, and it's not any fault of her own. She's been on too many shows too many times. It's not her fault. It is not her fault. If she can somehow muster a run, like I will be the first one to induct Cirie into the GOAT convo, which she's already kind of in now as not a winner. So if she's able to make another run, it's indisputed she is there. Win or loss,
and by the way, it's less cult-like than Coach. Cirie is more.
It's more motherly,
and that's Cirie, and she's just kind of like you want to tell her things. With Coach, it is more like he's kind of like the head of this leader. He's like the head of the army here. It's like you want to tell Coach you just did. It's like, hey, Coach, I just did this. It's like,
and we love Cirie, by the way. She's two of our favorites, two of our like top 5 easily. So,
maybe I would buy this, but I need to see more than one episode. I need to see who else is, because we kind of got some people hidden. I'm like, okay, let me see.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up, I think Mike White's a great alternative. If it's not Coach, I think he's my first name only because there is kind of this starstruck element with Mike White. He is just so cool, and he is such a big deal right now.
I was going to say, if Coach is taken off that tribe, the next person telling all the campfire stories is Mike White.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I don't really think there's someone in the conversation. I think it's those two people. Because I think if Cirie can't do it because she's just been on too many times, which I think is the case, who else is even an option? It's not Christian. He's a great dude, but he's so scary because he's so smart. People would see through that. It's not Colby, because even though he is this legend, he just doesn't have that kind of gravitational pull someone like Cirie has.
He's
at least not with this
in a different way.
era of people, yeah.
No, he's influential in a different way. I think as far as the game goes, I would probably still go Mike White, Coach. Yeah, no, Colby's influential. Don't get me wrong. He's one of those influential people on the cast, but I would say in a different way.
In a different way.
He hasn't played in 30 seasons. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you're not necessarily going to Coach. You're not necessarily going to Colby for...
He's not necessarily, like, relevant enough, especially because of how terrible he was on Heroes vs. Villains. If that was a great showing, and all we saw of Colby was being, like, this Superman USA figure in 3 seasons, and was a deep runner in what many fans consider the best season of all time, there's an argument Colby could be the most influential. But because of how bad his last appearance was and the gap between his last appearance and now, it's just too tough for him, in my opinion, to have that kind of cachet.
Yeah, I do think he has some influence, though, in this tribe and in the season.
Yeah. I think
it's a different
Q thinks highly of him. I think Rizzo thinks really highly of him. He has the built-in relationship with
Stephanie.
By the way,
Angelina, like, pre-season was like, I got to get Colby out. He was saying some things. And then the second I hit the beach, he's the first person she hugged. She's like, oh, my God, Colby! It was like, people kind of gravitate toward him. It's a different way of influence. But it's like the first memory in our minds. I know Jenna was season 1, but the first All-American hero of Survivor was Colby.
Yeah, but Colby was more of a cult hero than Jenna. That's inarguable. He's the first superstar of Survivor, more than Richard Hatch. Like, he's the first superstar.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
So I want to get more macro, though, Mike, for number 9 here. Are you buying or selling that, like Winners at War, the amount of advantages that are being tossed in the game will eventually derail the season, because we are, I wouldn't say haters of Winners at War, but I think we both can attest that the season could have been elevated if they just kind of were a little bit more hands off. If you just let them go at it. We don't need fire tokens. We don't need all these random willy-nilly advantages that come from fire tokens or just thrown in the game at random times. We don't need that, right? So are we going to get a repeat of Winners at War where at the end of this we're going to feel like, hey, production, just back off a little bit. You had the secret sauce. You had it. You had the cast you needed. Just back off a little bit.
By the way, before I buy or sell this, I'm going to say I liked Winners at War. I would have liked it so much more if there was fire tokens, if there weren't two separate Edge of Extinctions.
Yes.
Like, I'm fine with Edge of Extinction in the first half of the game because I wanted to see Amber for more than one episode or for more than 2 episodes. Like, I'm totally good with Edge of Extinction for that returning cast for the first half of the year. But once Tyson came back in at the merge, we can kind of debt in Edge of Extinction. Like,
and we're in lockstep there, right? I completely agree.
At that point, exactly right. But again, Winners at War, I thought way too. If they did fire tokens on like a newbie cast, I would be like, get it, like experimented on that cast, but then just don't do it again. The fact that they did it for a returning season was really annoying. But I still liked the season despite all that. Like, I think it would have been better if they just played it clean. But similarly, I'm gonna worrily buy here because I think that again the amount of advantages are probably gonna make this not as good as it could be. Basically, I don't think it'll derail the season per se, but I'm gonna buy the fact that the amount of advantages will absolutely hinder my end result opinion on the season. Like, I already love the premiere. We both love the premiere. But in the premiere alone, and I'm expecting we'll get more of this, 2 people lost their votes. 1 person has a block a vote. 1 person has an extra vote, Ozzy. 1 person has a boomerang idol, Ozzy. And then we have Tribe Supply. There's so much stuff going on in one episode that I am worried that I'm going to get lost by like week 6. I'm going to be like, wait, so who has what again? And not even Winners at War. I'll also go back to Game Changers. So the last 2 all returning seasons, I thought the season was good. But the stain on that season, if there is a stain, is the final 6 where 5 people are immune at 1 tribal council. So Cirie goes home with no votes against her. We have a legacy advantage. We have 3 different immunity idols. We have, obviously, individual immunity, which Brad Culpepper won. There was too many people immune at one time. And for this season, there could be too many votes going whichever way at one time. We could have people having 3 votes at 1 tribal council and other people have 0. It's like too much to keep up with. I hope that for whoever voted for dynamic advantages, whatever, I hope that it's not so crazy to the point where it's like it's final 8 and 7 people have some kind of advantage. It's just too much to keep up with.
Well, the descriptions for the voting were far too vague, intentionally so. It was intended to be eventually manipulated by production. By the way, can we make the results public? Like, can we just see? You can fudge it, I guess, but I just want to see like the percentages, you know?
Right. All we got was Jeff telling us the percentages. It's like, we don't know whether we have no idea. We have no actual.
You just made that up.
Like me saying, yeah, by the way, Will scored 100 points. Like, we need some actual data behind this. Like, can we see what happened, please? I know it's like we can't go back that far, but with Jeff Probst, just put the things online, put the results online. We can debate it later, but
Mike, I think in my opinion, the best season since Heroes versus Villains, this is just my opinion, was Cambodia. The reason being, there wasn't so many advantages. Mike, what's the best moment of that season, which I, like, all the time reference is my favorite moment in Survivor history?
Wentworth does not count. There's only one idol.
Why was that so awesome?
Because no one knew she had an idol.
Thank you!
It was so hidden. It was so secret. They didn't even split vote. It was like, oh, she doesn't have anything. There's no way.
Yes! And by the way, that's the only thing that could have saved her. There was no extra vote ×5. There was no boomerang idol. There was none of that. She had to just either find an idol or she was gone.
She was done.
And that gave idols like kind of an extra importance, which you could argue in some of those seasons that they were replenished a bit too much. Like, maybe they shouldn't have been immediately replenished, right? Like, maybe there should have been like another tribal council or something. Maybe you shouldn't have just been able to get super far because you just got lucky finding 3 idols in a row. Like, we've seen that in some seasons. There's an argument for that I can hear, right? But that being the only advantage, it made the game feel a little bit more pure, and it made it feel like social dynamics were what would lead you to the finish line. At the end of the day, Survivor's supposed to be a social game, and the competitions kind of supplement that in a way, because if you're winning competitions like getting immunity idols, getting just the immunity necklace rather.
The necklace, yeah.
You're kind of pushing yourself further in the game, and you can kind of align with people based off your positioning, right? That's what we like. We don't need journeys. We don't need just going randomly to fight for supplies. Why wouldn't the opening scene include supplies? It made no sense at the time. I thought Q was just kind of playing spoiler. I didn't realize that they didn't win supplies also. They just won Flint. Why? Why do we need two of those things? And sure, it was great that we got this amazing moment with Coach and Ozzy, but it is a little manufactured, don't you think?
We did not
Because
need
we're
Q
kind
there.
of forcing it. Yes.
I'm absolutely with you. By the way, I too said, I was like, wait, why is Q going? Oh, they only won Flint. This whole entire thing was just for Flint, and then there's two other things for supply.
Yeah, I thought he was literally playing spoiler. You know?
Like if he wins, they don't get anything. You know,
Yes.
maybe that's what it was. Yeah, but I would say, yeah, similarly to that. Yeah, I mean, again, why was Q there? The issue is with that is that when there's too many things going on at once, advantages, it just becomes. And I would say even this, we both liked Rachel season, right? We both liked Savannah season. I mean, it was good. I mean, watching in real time, I knew who won, but with Savannah, but there can't be so much luck involved to the point where it's like, wait, what's going on here? I mean, again, you have Saul willing a hidden immunity idol to Rachel to save herself at Tribal. You have Rachel finding a hidden immunity idol clue in like her sandwich.
We love Rachel very much, but she
there.
got like 5 advantages on that season.
A lot of luck there. And then same thing with Savannah. By the way, we liked Savannah. She was down, I believe, 8-3 after Nate get voted out. And then production randomly has a they go back to 2 tribes. And then she wins immunity. Not only wins immunity, goes on a journey and gets a free extra vote. So now she has an immunity necklace and an extra vote. And she gets to go to tribal council and listen to all the conversations. It just completely changed the game. So I don't want, for these new era seasons, production, I'm saying them as production, to completely put their foot in the way and get it's because it's not gameplay. The journeys necessarily aren't really gameplay. No one really wants to go on them unless, like, again, Colby was like, I mean, it's like a YOLO. I guess I'll go, whatever. But no one's really trying. The gameplay of it, the social strategy of it is how can you manufacture these relationships? And then it's a numbers game. But
I also don't think it's really good TV. I think it's kind of repetitive. I do. I think it'd be a little bit more interesting if there were tribal advantages on the line. Like, the winner of this gets a tarp. And then maybe, like, once every 4 or 5 journeys, there's something attached to like a tarp or something, the gift basket with the fruit that you just won, something like that. You could sell me on that. Like, you go on a journey, you could maybe get an advantage in the next challenge or something. I don't know.
Here's the good thing about this, though, because I agree. Why would every single journey lead to something? Because then at some point, and when everyone goes on a journey, everyone, mostly whoever wins at least on the journey, is going to have something. Whereas what I like better is Exile Island, where you're not going to compete on Exile Island. Exile Island is quite literally just Exile Island. You're just there by yourself. That is much more beneficial to me than having every single person take turns going on a journey. Because remember, if you went on a journey once, you can't go again. So it's like you're going to eventually see the same things happening where it's like you're going to have 3 different people. They'll link up on the journey. It's very repetitive, like you mentioned. And it's just not great television. Like, it's not as good as like an Exile Island where I personally like if they're going to do journeys, have them be for like tarp, for supplies, for legitimate morale boosters at camp for everybody. Because when it's not, it's all just deception. It's like, oh, well, what do you want on the journey? You won the right to get an extra vote. Oh, you won the right to keep your vote. It's just too much deception in a game that's already deceptive. Why don't you just have these things?
But you can't be deceiving because everyone knows if you won, you got something. That's kind of the entire issue with the journey.
Yeah, it's so repetitive that everyone knows what these journeys give you now. It's not like they just brand new dropped in. Oh, it's a journey. Wonder what we're gonna get. There's no surprise in it anymore. To the factor is like there's no shock factor. You know, if you go to a journey, if you win, you get something. If you lose, you probably lose something. In Mike White's
usually
case,
your vote.
Yeah, it's usually your vote. And in Mike White's case, he gets on the boat, goes back and tells them he spoke with them for 15 seconds. It's so strange because some of it is just like it's all just pure chance, and it's like, okay, I don't love the fact that that's because that's not gameplay. The luck of it. Survivor, of course, is about luck, but you can't have so much luck to where every single journey they're drawing rocks, they're doing this. It's a game of Jenga. It's so
why couldn't they play that with 3 people?
I still have no idea. But even that, like that's not like a necessarily. I mean, it's just like a lot of it is kind of a chance. It's a lot of by chance, and so much of the game is already luck involved. Tribe swaps. You mentioned last year, Matt and He was on the bottom of the tribe swap. It's just like,
Matt
okay,
and Jason got
Matt and Jason.
hosed.
Unlucky. That happened to Parvati in Winners at War. Unlucky. Unfortunately, she was on the wrong number side. You don't need journeys also being lucky. It's like, oh gosh. So I'm already screwed on the tribe swap, and now I go to a journey and I lose my vote. It's like, oh, what a bummer.
We'd rather see how these people are able to kind of ingrain themselves with the others, not just be thrown in a tribe swap and be the minority because then you're DOA. And what's the fun in that? You can't do anything. There's no gameplay.
Well, did you see the vague thing of like dynamic rewards or dynamic advantages gives people on the bottom a chance? I'm like, does it? Like, what if you lose your vote on Journey? You need that vote. I'm on the bottom. I need my vote. It's like, oh yeah, now you lose it, by the way. And
I mean, look, Mike, we still have Mr. Beast. We still have, is it Zach Brown? Right?
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon also is going to come as well.
Jimmy Fallon, okay. Are we missing anyone?
There's probably someone else that's going to come later. I don't know. Sia, I wouldn't rule out Sia. Sia's a big Survivor fan. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. By the way, Jeff used to name America's favorite player after Sia. It turned, I think it was like season 31 or whatever it was. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, America's favorite player is now Sia's favorite player, and you get $100,000 or whatever. I don't know what it is, but there's more celebrities.
Do you think Billie Eilish has seen Winners at War?
Apparently, she's a Survivor fan. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I can't say. I would say over under 5 seasons that she's watched. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe her brother's a big fan too. Maybe we'll get a Phineas idol. Boomerang's back.
Oh my God.
We'll find out.
I'm not ruling out anything, but that's a little bit too much for me. Like, I like Billie Eilish. I actually like the Boomerang idol. We both like the concept of it.
Look, and I want to shit on this one more time. I like the concept of the idol. The way the idol was introduced was incredibly stupid. Genevieve found the idol. It would be one thing if that was a journey reward, where it's kind of just this little thing. It's just a journey, so it's whatever.
Like, it's in the game.
She literally found the idol. How does that not go to her? That makes no sense. It's just dumb.
Well, to be fair, it's less annoying than a beware advantage. I don't like where you spend so much time doing. You found the clue,
right?
And then you have to do like 3 different things in the middle of everybody at the challenge. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, when it's nighttime, you got to sneak off, make a lot of noise. It's like, man, it's a lot of work for one idol. So Genevieve stuck her hand in the thing and found it. Now it's like, oh yeah, I got to will it to somebody.
By the way, Mike, is there a weird kind of advantage at every beach, or is that just the Vaatu thing? Like, are we going to get the Mr. Beast briefcase on Sela? Or
what I was going to say is, so Billie Eilish is only on Vaatu Beach, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she's a big Colby Donaldson fan, so she's like, I have to be on Vaatu.
Okay. So there's no Boomerang idol on any other beach. So Ozzy can't find his own Boomerang idol and give it back to Genevieve. You're like, hey, I'm going to put the same thing.
Well, he doesn't know it was Genevieve who gave it to him. It was implied that he didn't know. It was just kind of randomly in his bag.
It was just in his bag, right. So I wouldn't rule out anything is what I'm saying. But the point is, there's too much advantages. I might lose track of what's on what beach. So you mentioned a good point. So Billie Eilish is only on Vaatu. Maybe Mr. Beast is a Sela idol. And then maybe Jimmy Fallon is, I don't know. I have no idea.
But then where's Zach Brown going?
Somebody. Maybe that's going to be an auction.
He's a merge? I don't know.
He came on the boat, so he's actually going to be there in person. So is Mr. Beast. I don't know.
Yeah. One of the Survivor auction things is you get to bid the rent for private Zach Brown concert.
24 hours, by the way. 24 hours Zach Brown. I don't know.
You get fried chicken and to hear chicken fried at the same time. There you go.
They did not fly him out to Fiji for nothing. I'll tell you that much.
No, worse places to be than Fiji. Mike White was crying about being in these Thailand resorts. I mean,
4 seasons, glamorous places. It was like, oh, this sucks. It's like, yeah, well, now you're in Fiji. Not much worse. It's
you're doing okay. You're doing okay, Mr. White. You're doing okay.
Still crystal clear oceans, by the way. You're doing just fine.
We do still have one final buy or sell here, Mike. I don't know if you know this, but the Survivor 50 premiere delivered CBS's most watched Wednesday night in 4 years. Okay. It was the #1 show on that night in both total viewers and adults in the key demo, which is 25 to 54. It averaged 5 million viewers throughout the episode, over 6 at its peak, according to Nielsen. So are you buying or selling that with this very popular first episode of Survivor 50, that the franchise has already put the magic back in the bottle, that Survivor is back on the cultural map?
Love the episode. I'm buying the first episode. I thought it was fantastic. I'm not buying that the franchise is all the way back. I think that we've had our issues with the 40s. I'm just gonna call it the 40s. The new era doesn't sound right. So the 40s we didn't love.
I like that. We were trying to think of a new name. I like the 40s.
The 40s. I mean, we do in basketball. It's like, oh, the 80s, the 90s. So how about the 40s for for Survivor? Where it's just like, you know what? Didn't love the 40s. We could do better than that. And although this premiere was fantastic, one of the best premieres, I think we both agree. There's still a lot of ways to go. There's, if the new thing is we're gonna have celebrities coin different things, we're gonna plant new advantages in the game. I mean, you're gonna need a little bit more than that because right now it works because of all the faces on
Mike,
the screen.
by the way, that doesn't bother me. I don't really care that Billie Eilish is sponsoring the Boomerang Idol. I think it's a little hokey, but if that leads to Billie Eilish posting about Survivor and then like posting it on her story or something or making an IG post, I think that's great for the show. I'm sorry. That's just how modern advertising works. It's good for the brand. It's good for reach. There's no two ways around it. So if they're going to start doing this, if we get the Chapel Roan comeback token, it is what it is. It's
That's
fine.
51. You're already putting ideas. Hey, well, first of all, you're already putting ideas in their head for future seasons. But my point is, this worked because it's a returnee cast. I don't know how much of this. Again, if they do the same stuff they did in the 40s, where it's like you're doing journeys, you're losing votes, because they are pretty obsessed with people losing votes, or at least the idea of it. New advantages. So we've already had our plethora of new advantages in the game in the 40s. A new advantage here is the Boomerang Idol. We have not had that before, so a different concept, and there's probably more coming on the season. If those are staples for the 50s and on, I got to see how they're executed before I buy in fully. But the actual franchise is still, again, the way Jeff has talked about it, it still feels like this is a lightning in a bottle, one season kind of thing. Like they're not going to do this all the time. Like they're not going to do live reunions. Only this season they're going to do live reunions. They don't have the budget for it. So a lot of the things that the fans still loved about Survivor, they're still going to do, I think, more of what they did in the 40s, which to me would say it's not all the way back because you return it, or at least.
Can I make 2 points on that? Because I think it's important. The live reunions, although we love them and they're indisputably better, don't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't make a good season. We can argue about it all we want. It doesn't hurt the bottom line. The 40s weren't bad because there's no live reunions, right? The 40s weren't bad because the show is 26 days. That's not the actual issues that we're dealing with. It's different, but it's not why it was bad, okay? Those are two different things. I think why it was bad, primarily, I think the casting choices were terrible, which at the end of the day comes down to the director. I forgot the current guy's name, but it was just better. It was just better 15 years ago. It was better 10 years ago. It was better 6 years ago, Mike. It just indisputably was. So we need better casting. That's one. Two was this era of endless advantages. We can't stand it. It's just too much. We shouldn't need a spreadsheet for how many advantages are in the game. I think there's a balance, right? I think if you like desperately need journeys and you desperately need like block of votes, like you can do a few of those and it's probably fine if you have the right cast. The right cast can kind of figure it out, but it's too much. It's indisputable. So those are the two major things. And then I think the third thing, which is a little bit more subtle, was Jeff's direction of the game. By Jeff coming on all the time, complaining about everyone's dismay for the 40s and being out of touch with what the fans wanted, I think hurt the product. Because when you're coming on like a late night talk show or you're doing an article online, whatever it may be, and you're saying that we need this to be a family show, we need everyone to be kind of chummy with each other, what do you think the show's going to be reflected as? He's the producer. He's not just the host. He's the lead producer. So when that's the case, what do you expect? He's going to design the show. And granted, these are individual people, but it's a little Big Brother-y. And I don't mean the show. I mean like literally being Big Brother, where you're kind of pushing people towards the direction you want. When you're constantly clamoring for, everyone needs to be happy. This is a family show. We need good vibes. We need good stories. Mike, they're going to start sharing their war stories like we've heard the last few years. Everyone's going to be crying every other episode.
Yep.
So those three things, Jeff clamoring for what he wants the show to be, it reflecting that, the too many advantages, and just the overall bad casting, that's the issue with the 40s. Until we fix that, which can't be fixed in a returnee season with all these people that we really like, the best of the best, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant to say the show's all the way back.
Well, that's the one thing you can mitigate it by bringing in having more returning seasons. We had no.
By the
returning
way,
seasons
Mike, not to
before.
cut you off, Jeff has already reversed course on this. The last few weeks, he has said there's probably going to be a returning season within the next few seasons. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, he did say that. But the issue is he also said numerous other things that I didn't like. He said that we're sticking with this is the way the game is going. I don't think they're going to get rid of journeys. I think they like the idea of that. I don't think they're going to get rid of the casting decisions because Jeff also said we have the best casting director in the world. I would push back on that take. But if he thinks it, then that probably means in his mind we can keep doing these newbie seasons and keep casting the same people because it works. So in their mind, it works. In my mind, I would have some trepidation.
Mike, can I tell you something? I know you caught this too, but I think it's bigger than what the reaction's been to it. There was a confessional with Camilla basically saying she hated her season, right?
Yeah.
I think that was included on purpose. Because if Jeff really believes that this direction of the show is the best, why would you include someone kind of detracting from that point? You wouldn't, right? Because you do have final editing power. This show, there were so many things that were deleted from this first episode. That was not really important. I think the fact that that was included could be some tea leaves showing that like there are some of these ruthless players left and we will be casting some of those. It was a little bit of like a red herring maybe of signs to come, which I hope are kind of fulfilled.
Well, I think that Jeff liked 48. And I think that he's totally okay with people who didn't like 48. I mean, Camilla didn't like her own season. That's totally fine. Why was that in there?
The choice of including that in the episode, I thought was interesting.
Well, I don't think Jeff is pushing his own narrative onto everybody. I would say that maybe he is okay with people.
No, but Mike, that's such an easy thing to cut out, right? That's such an easy thing to cut out. You could have said the exact same Camilla's story without that line being included.
Yeah, but that was like Camilla's only confessional? I think it was. I mean, that was like her only thing. So maybe it was just like
included in the show. Right. I think is always important.
But maybe that was the only confessional that was interesting from Camilla's premiere episode. Like
perhaps
the only thing that she had was I'm talking to people who played similar games as me. Like I don't want to play this. Maybe the only interesting line she's had in the premiere was I don't want to play this honest and loyal game, which is totally fine. It's fine to include it. It's not like you have to get rid of that line. It's like, well, what else did Camilla say? Do we have anything else we can put forward? Like I don't think you have to exclude it from the episode.
You know what I am saying, though, right? I think it could be a little bit telling.
I get why it's weird that it's in there from Jeff's point of view because but I also think that Jeff is I think he is a little bit adaptable to the point where like I don't need every season looking like 48. He's
already turned on the fact that we don't need returning seasons. He's already changed course on that point alone, which is pretty big.
He's adaptable to change. Like I think in his mind he liked 48, but I think he's okay with not every season looking like 48.
If he can be fed. Because it feels like even though he has a podcast every week, Mike, and even though he has children, right, it somehow feels like he is so detached from the Survivor universe. Perhaps it was spending time with all these returning players that he immensely respects. Perhaps he heard some of their gripes with the product. Maybe that's what it finally took for him to change his ways.
By the way, I don't think that's the big gripe to have, though. The gripe of 48 being too much honor, too much integrity.
No. I mean the overall like macro issues with the show.
Yes, but 48 was no different from the other 9 seasons in terms of the casting. Like the casting all the other seasons were the same. It's just that season had a lot of honor and integrity. The other seasons had a lot of cutthroat and deceptive and manipulating and whatever. So you can like a season based on whatever the end result is of the gameplay, but the overall casting was the exact same. So I don't think that's going to change, which would be my issue of like every season does not have to look like 48, but every season can't have the same kind of casting decisions of like, oh, we're seeing this archetype again. We're seeing, and they're all the same basically. Like I get. If
we aggregated the scores, like the perception scores from each season based off the infancy, the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. The 40s by far are in last place. Like it's not remotely close, and I think the 20s aren't great. I think there's some decent stuff in there. I think there's some slop in there too. Yeah, of course. But the 40s, what's the best 40 season?
46 is good.
47's pretty fun.
46 and 47 were good.
But the fact we don't have a definitive answer is telling enough.
Again, I liked 48, but I get, whatever. Yeah, there's not a definitive, oh, this one was it's an all-time season. Like, there's not really any all-time seasons. Whereas you have, in the 20s alone, you have Heroes, Villains, you have Cagayan, you have San Juan del Sur, you have Bloodwater, well, Bloodwater is San Juan del Sur, but you have different art, like Brains, Brawn, and
The other
Beauty.
Bloodwater, though, the one with
There's
Tyson.
2 Bloodwaters, yeah, 27
Yeah.
and 29. And I like both of them, but 27 was half returnees, Tyson and company with their loved ones, and then the 29 was just all newbies, but it worked with Bloodwater again. Bloodwater worked twice, so you could have the 20s did work, and Redemption Island didn't really work, but some of the ideas they put in the 20s did work. The 10s were really fun. You have Micronesia, you have China, you have.
There was a narrative in the 20s, if you go online, that the show's kind of dipping a little bit. That was a thing in real time, and then we get Cagayan, then we get San Juan del Sur. That helps. Then after that, we get One World, which is a total flop. So that really incites some negativity. But then immediately after that, we get Cambodia, which is we get Cambodia, which is probably my favorite season in the show's history from a gameplay perspective.
God, it's great.
Just gameplay, not like characters and all that, but just pure gameplay. I think it's my favorite season.
Inarguably, yeah. I think it's like it's like the first time we see like actual voting blocks where there's like from tribal to tribal, you don't know who's voting with who. It's like the first time we really got that. The first 30 seasons, there's like tribal lines, they get blurred a little bit, but you don't see these actual voting blocks where like the post merge was like 3 people that you wouldn't have voting together one time, and then the next tribal you have these 3 people, and there's totally different. It's like that was a very adaptable game. It was a very fluid. It was a very good game. But that was also all returnee season, so it's like it took that to kind of jumpstart, I know the late 20s had some good newbie seasons like Cagayan and San Juan del Sur. But yeah, 30 was horrible. 31 was really, really good. Cambodia. And then you had 34, which Game Changers, really, really good. And you had some good newbie seasons mixed in there, like Millennials, Gen X, and David Goliath. But for the most part, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I think that's the most recent golden age where you get the 31 through 37 stretch, 38 stretch. Those are pretty good. All of them are pretty good. And then you get to 40, which is, look, 40 was never going to be bad. It was impossible for it to be bad.
Couldn't make it bad.
But I think it was.
They tried.
If we did it 100 times and we had all these production choices, I think we're in the bottom 10 outcomes of what we could have gotten. Not the winner, because Tony played an awesome game. Yeah. I meant like an entertainment value from who we had on that cast. I think it is one of the worst ways we could have gotten there, in my opinion, because of how stacked that cast was.
It was a stacked cast, but the drama was still there. The intrigue was still there. The chaos was still all there. It was a really well played, from a gameplay standpoint. The gameplay was really, really top notch. The production shoehorning things in, could have done without that.
Right. And then since then, we've had a few decent seasons, but nothing memorable. And it's perhaps that we're not naming them anymore. So like, it's kind of hard to differentiate now. Like we do it all the time. We're like, was that 45 or
45 or 46?
43? Like they all just blend
if
in,
they
right?
Named it something, it would be much easier, right?
Yeah. So I don't think that helps. And then by not doing a gimmick, because this is the only stretch of the show we've never had a gimmick.
No
Usually every other season's a gimmick. Now it's 48. So it's last season, but with new people. Oh, okay. Like, but there's no generation divide. There's no blood versus water. There's no fan favorite. There's none of that. Now we have 50, where at least it's all returning. So we have inherently a gimmick. They're all playing again, right? It's no wonder why I called it the best premiere in the show's history. And I think inarguably it's top 5 at least.
The gimmicks work. The gimmicks work. I mean, the first 10 seasons, the intrigue was, where are they going next season? Oh my God, they're going to Africa? Oh my God, they're going to the Australian outback? Then you had the teens, and it was like, we have Cook Islands where they're separated on race.
By the way, Mike, can I cut you off to help your point here? When we were doing the intro to Survivor 50, the first scene, when we have that like flashback montage where we start from the beginning and we get up to 50, didn't you feel like it was a disservice that we were stuck in Fiji? We were seeing all these other locations. We were seeing how that helped make a season memorable. I was like, oh, that's China. Oh, that's South Pacific. I could call it out. Now it's, we're in Fiji.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fiji is safe. It's comfortable. But everything else about Survivor early season was, oh my God, they went where? It's like, oh my God, they went to Africa. They went to the South Pacific. They went to Cambodia. I mean, that wasn't early season, but they went to all these different landmark places. And that was a big deal early season. And then you had the teens where you started to get the gimmicks. So the first of it was the locations, and the locations was the intrigue itself. Then you get the gimmicks in there, where it's like, oh my god, they're going to Panama, but it's Exile Island. It's the introduction of
And
Exile
Mike,
Island.
by the way, the locations helped this season because they would do like challenges based off the locations and stuff like that. So it felt different. Yes, the intrigue was the locations, but they catered to the locations. They were doing something different.
Yeah, but again, so Panama, you had gender and women. So older women, younger women,
Yeah.
older men, younger men. Cook Islands, you had them separated by race. Then you have the first fans' favorite season in 16. Then you have 20s, the introduction of heroes, villains. So you have some actual like, oh, we have an actual gimmick now. It's not just 20 new castaways. It's like you have an actual thing there. Redemption Island, gimmick. You have Brains, Brawn, Beauty, gimmick. You have, One World, which is when they're all at the same beach and it's men and women against each other. Then you have Worlds Apart, where it's blue collar, white collar, red collar. You have all these different gimmicks that they did. Bloodwater, which worked twice. And now we are out of gimmicks. We are 41, 42, 43 and on. It's like, oh, yeah,
We're not, Mike. We're not. And we talk about this all the time. There's so much more you could explore because you can repeat them and we'd be totally fine with that. You could do our generation against millennials. You could do another fan's favorite. I've been clamoring this forever, Mike. I want a winners versus fans season or something like that. Or I want the fans to be like Survivor Media, these people that think they are the best Survivor players. Because we always like talk about, or Jeff does anyway, like, oh, if you're on the couch, apply, but people like us that like kind of are like, oh, you're doing this wrong. It'd be fun to see people like us out there, right? And see if they could actually put their money where their mouth is.
Right. But another thing I would say is you can do gimmicks more than once. Like you mentioned it. They have not done a heroes villain since 20. They can do a David Goliath too. It worked. You can do it again. You can do millennials versus the next generation of people. You can do generations. The generation thing worked the first time. Like it was a good.
Mike, you could do like a rural urban. You could do like people from a city versus people from like the countryside. You could do it north south, which might get a little weird, but you could do something like that where it's like, yeah, it's something to try. You could do an East Coast versus a West Coast. These things sound dumb, but it works. We've seen it work.
If you have a tribe full of all people from California and Portland, and then you're going against a tribe from the East Coast, there's some things on the line here. It's like, hey, we want to win for the East Coast. Like, come on now. And then you have the Midwest. It's like the Midwest. Like we got people from Chicago. It's like, okay.
Yeah, you could break it into three. You could do West Coast, East Coast, Midwest. You could do something like that. 100%.
It works. They do it in sports. There's divisions that are like you have to. I mean, it's an idea that you can throw.
Michael, why can't you do U.S. versus the world? We saw Australia just did that. Why can't we do that?
We can't bring in people from the other. Yeah. See, the thing is with Jeff, I don't think he likes. He's a little jealous of when people go on other shows. He did not like when Carolyn went on the Traders. He didn't like when some people was like, "Oh, those are our people. We need to stick them on our network."
He was upset Parvati went on Australia versus the world, but Sari he didn't care about for some reason. So.
Yeah, a little interesting actually, but I think he doesn't like competing with other networks. Like he's like, "Oh, that's we're CBS people. We don't like them going over that network with Traders was on Peacock. You got MTV The Challenge people. It's like we want to stay on CBS." So I think he's a little jealous of the network thing, but why? Just bring people from all different. It's not like the MTV segregates against CBS. Like they always bring in people from Big Brother, Vessel, people from the Survivor, Michelle. Like they'll put people from CBS and other shows, Love Island, which is on the NBC and other things. Like they're not gonna. It's not like a network issue with them. But with Jeff, he feels a little bit more like prized possession over his CBS people. It's like he doesn't really want to branch out and get people from other shows. So I don't think they'll ever do a USA versus the world thing because not every Survivor platform is on CBS. Like there's other Survivor platforms on different networks.
You could do it where they haven't been on Survivor, though. It's like new U.S. people, new world people.
Yes. Okay. You could do that. You can grab people from different countries. You can do it.
Which I know was a thing for a while. Like Canadians couldn't apply for the longest time. The only Canadian, I just saw this video. Excuse me. I don't remember who posted it, but it was Todd from China. He was a dual citizen of the Canada in the U.S. and he had to renounce his Canadian citizenship just to get on the show.
That was old time. You could not have Canadian people on, and then
now obviously we have like Genevieve right now. So
yeah, Erica 141, Marianne 142. You've had Canadian people do well on the show now, so it's like okay, for sure. But you could do more than just your northern neighbors. You can put people from Australia on the U.S. Survivor. I know it's a lot of travel, but you can do people. You can do people from different walks of life. They did a gender season. They did like Asian Americans, African Americans. I think they did obviously Caucasians and then something else. I forget what it is. But
Yeah,
they
and,
did a
and
literal
given our current climate, that might not be the easiest thing to
maybe
do.
we'll scale back on that.
But you can do stuff adjacent to that. Like I said, I think an urban versus rural would be awesome, which I think is like the Survivor at its core.
Yeah, it's a social experiment. Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's at its core. Like you're bringing people from different walks of life. So you're having an urban. Exactly. You're putting two people on a beach who would not necessarily meet in real life.
Yeah, and you try to get like the lawyers, the Wall Street people, the whatever stuff like that. And then you get the farmers, you get the people from the deep south. That's what we want to see. Just some like not just visual diversity. We also want social diversity as well.
Yeah, I mean, the first season of Survivor, it was an old guy from I'm forgetting where Rudy's from, but his background. But it was Rudy, and then he's working with Richard Hatch, like openly gay. It was like people who would never talk in real life. That was Survivor at its core,
which was obviously a bigger deal 25 years ago.
Of course, huge deal 25 years ago. But if you have, because it's not just cast diversity with like, the people of the same occupations, like the age is different. We're not casting that many old people anymore.
No.
Like old is like 45. Like I think Sue was like, I don't know, whatever it was. But if you're 45, you're like old on Survivor. That used to never be like old. Like you'd have 20-year-olds.
And Mike, when you say ideals, people jump to political. I don't care about that either.
No,
I just want people that think like differently. Like because they're from somewhere in rural Idaho and not New York City. Those people inherently are going to think differently.
Yes, if you're gonna pick, like people pick apart, it's like, oh, they got a Southerner from Alabama. I wonder what their ideals are politically. It's like that's not really the issue. That's not really like the point of getting along with them.
Yeah, but Mike, if they went to Boston University, then they're really not that kind of personality.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It might be much more blurry than just how you think it, how you perceive. Right. But again, perception's reality. But you have people from California, people from Idaho, people from Montana, people from New York. Like that's what you're getting different walks of life just by default because they're literally different parts of the universe, different parts of the country. So like you can do that. I feel like nowadays everyone's either it's like you're from New York, you're from Florida, you're from California, from Texas. I don't know. It's pretty much.
No, you're right. That's kind of it. And then you get a token Canadian
in there. But there's a lot of people. Like we did our grid. D is from Florida. Charlie's from Massachusetts. It's similar areas. We're not really getting a middle of the country person in there too often. I don't think, at least. I could be fact checked, but I don't think there's that many people from Montana playing Survivor. It's a pretty big state. You could find people there.
Yeah, and we just need that intrigue back. It's been a little bit too chummy, just a little bit. Which again, we don't want these people to actually like hate each other. Like that's not necessarily what we're asking for, but we want some conflict. That's all.
We don't need John Rocker. I get that, but we could mix in some.
We don't need John Rocker, but we could use like a Draymond Green. I think that's a fair assessment.
We're exactly right. We're meeting in the middle there. We're not going off the scale. That would be a good fun television. We need fun television. Everyone hated that Michael Rappaport was on The Traitors. I mean, he's an actor. He's not the best guy in the world. I totally can see that. But it's. Some of it makes for good TV. When there's certain characters that you put on television on reality TV, that is reality TV. Like you're getting
100%.
You're getting some good television as a person who is like, I need to make these episodes look like. You need to have some diversity in there. You have
Mike, there's two types of things. There's a villain you want to see conquer, and then there's go away heat. And I think Survivor has to find the middle. And what I mean by go away heat is like, this person's on my screen. I dislike them so much. I don't want to watch this anymore, which John Rocker really fell into that camp. But I think villain we want conquered would be like, again, a sports reference, like a Draymond Green, someone who's loud and boisterous and sometimes very not self-aware of his surroundings, but he's not necessarily like a terrible person. He's just kind of, off the rails a little bit. But he's not like...
You want to see that person get blindsided at Tribal Council.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, but he's not like necessarily, rotten at his core,
I'm with
you. I hope Jeff's listening, Mike. I really do.
I'm hoping he's listening, but he, don't cast bad people, but cast people that are interesting to root against. It's not that hard.
Cast people that can be bad, but aren't bad people.
Correct. You gotta find the middle ground. It's all about finding the middle ground. It's not that hard, but apparently it's been hard recently.
That might be a t-shirt opportunity. But anyway, I hope you guys appreciated the video. Again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will be back Wednesday with another reaction video to Survivor 50. I believe Theo, our third guru, will be with us for that one. So make sure to tune in. Then we will be tweaking the format a little bit. I think we're going to be blasting through the order of events a little bit to make sure our opinions are more of the forefront. Because, look, last Wednesday was a really large episode. We understand that. But
2 hours.
and we just did another basically 2 hours here. But that's how we have to talk about the show. There's so much to get into. But anyway, we will see you on Wednesday. For Mike Testa, I am Xavier Aguiar, and we will see you next time. Peace.